West Coast, New England, red, black. They're all IPAs, and they're coming up next on Beer in Front. Welcome to Beer in Front. I'm your host, Dave Zalatoris. Every week, I'm going to talk about a classic beer that maybe we've forgotten along the way while we get our check-ins and badges. Sometimes I'll feature a new beer that has potential to be a classic. Being the Chicago beer guy, I'll also talk about great craft beers from the city of Chicago. That's Beer in Front, coming up now. Welcome to episode 101 of Beer in Front. How is everyone doing this week? I have a good show lined up where I'm going to talk about some IPAs. I'm going to have one from Societe Brewing in San Diego, one from England, and of course a couple local Chicago ones as well. I mentioned on last week's show that I'm going to try to be less political on the podcast, and lo and behold, Putin invades the Ukraine. Beer in Front is listened to in 45 states in 25 different countries. One country where the show has success is in the Ukraine. For whatever it's worth, during this unnecessary invasion by Putin, I'm keeping you and your family in my thoughts. Bud Starovi and Bla Oslovi Vasbo. In beer news this week, Heineken announced that it's going to raise prices by courageous amounts to offset the rising cost in shipping and raw materials. They did not say whether this is going to affect their other brands like Dos Equis, Lagunitas, and others, but what kind of marketing nonsense is courageous amounts? The CEO of Threes Brewing in Brooklyn has done a good job in damaging the name of his brewery by calling vaccine mandates crimes against humanity and comparing them to Jim Crow and Nazi Germany. Josh Stileman and the brewery doubled down with even more rhetoric later. 450 North, which is known for their heavily fruited, slushy, sour beers, they're getting new equipment that will allegedly make their beers more shelf-stable. 450 cans have been known to explode if not kept cold and consumed quickly, so maybe they should have done that first, but who am I? El Segundo Brewing and wrestling legend Stone Cold Steve Austin, they're collaborating on a second beer. This one will be called Broken Skull American Lager. This will be brewed with 100% Contessa hops, which the brewery claims is a cross between Fuggle and Cascade, so look for Broken Skull American Lager soon. Finally, there's a brewery in the Ukraine called Pravda Brewing. The other day they released a picture that's very cool, but it's just so flippin' sad. They released a picture of 3 bottles, and they said that they're suspending their brewing operations, and now they're making Molotov cocktails for residents to use against invading Russian forces. The label on the bottles says that Putin is a dickhead. They also said that this is a very special bottling. People are willing to help, and they'll bottle beer later. Pravda Brewing, I'm thinking of you guys. I wish there was something I could do, but, God bless you. Be safe, be strong out there, and hopefully one day very soon I'll get to have one of your beers on the show. This week I'm going to talk about India Pale Ales, IPAs. Love them or hate them, IPAs are the driving force in craft beer. On the 2021 style guidelines published by the Beer Judge Certification Program, there are 11 separate categories of an IPA, and the beer rating app Untapped lists 23 different categories, making this the most popular style in craft beer. Now, most of these categories are marketing bullshit. A double dry hop lactose milkshake ale is as close to an IPA as I am to George Clooney, but you put IPA on the label and it's going to get you a second glance in the tap room or on the shelf at your local liquor store. Most, if not all, IPAs from the United States, they're not exported to India. And how can you call a black IPA pale? There's not a lot of people who would buy a milkshake beer or an aggressively hopped porter, but you slap IPA on that and watch your sales grow. And I get it. I really do. If I was a brewer or a brewery owner, I would do that as well to get my foot in the door, to get more sales. There's no question I would probably do the same thing. And I know people, I'm sure you know people, you might be that person who hates a traditional English IPA or a West Coast IPA, but you would probably love Hazy Little Thing from Sierra or the hot local New England or milkshake style that's out there. I wonder how many casual beer drinkers are turned off by seeing IPA on a can and don't even bother to try it. I had some decent IPAs this week. Actually all of these I've had before, but I had the Sierra Nevada Big Little Thing. That's their Imperial IPA. But this, they put in those 19-ounce cans. So that's a pretty big beer for drinking a 9%er, but that's a decent Imperial. I mean, it does its job. There's no complaints there. I also had some local ones. I had Bodum from Half Acre. Always a great IPA. One of my favorite Chicago ones. And then, of course, you have to have Anti-Hero from Revolution. Outstanding West Coast style IPA. Terrific. It's available all over. I mean, if you see either the Half Acre or the Revolution, by all means, pick them up if you're interested in West Coast IPAs, because those are great. The local IPA I'm going to have right now is from Spiteful. Let's crack it open. Spiteful has a wonderful color, more on the pale side, not as much caramel malts to this just by looking at the color. Terrific aroma. The aroma on this slaps you right up front. Great aroma on the Spiteful. Oh, this tastes really good. I'm getting a lot of like grapefruit citrus to this. Really nice flavor on the Spiteful IPA. This is fantastic, like the other ones. This is a great Chicago IPA. They use Amarillo and Citra hops in this. Excellent. If you see this one, pick it up. It's well worth your time. Spiteful IPA, great Chicago beer. Another, I don't want to say local, but I guess you could call it a local Chicago beer. This is the IPA from Goose Island. Although it is not brewed in Chicago anymore, according to the can, it's brewed in Baldwinsville, New York, or Fort Collins, Colorado. The IPA from Goose Island was great. Back in the day, was fantastic. And I always thought, like, once AB InBev bought them out, that the recipe changed. But it could be me. My tastes have changed over the years. I went back and I was reading Josh Knoll's book, Barrel Aged Stout and Selling Out, and he claims in the book that the beer definitely did change, and also it's brewed on different equipment now. You look at the website for Goose Island's IPA, and it says there that this is a 6-time medal winner at the Great American Beer Festival, but all of those medals came before the change. So I don't know if this one's winning any medals, but let's crack it open. I have this. This is in a 25-ounce can. 25 ounces. That's a big beer, but I'm going to try it. This is 5.9% alcohol, 55 IBUs. Let's try the Goose Island IPA. The Goose IPA is a little darker than most. Very nice color on here. I'm getting some grapefruit out of the aroma. I mean, the aroma's not bad at all. Yeah, this definitely is not the IPA that they used to have This is, for me, this is very malt forward, where I'm getting a lot of, my first impression of this is very, the sweetness of malt. The hops are coming in somewhere in the middle of it. I do get the citrus, the grapefruit, and there's very little bitterness on the back end of this. I mean, it's not a horrible beer. It's not something I'm going to dump in the drain once I stop recording this. It's not a bad beer, but it really, I mean, frankly, it's not a great beer. It's passable if you see nothing else, or like in this case, you just want one, you could grab a 25-ounce can of this over at your local grocery store. I picked this one up over at Jewel, which is the large chain grocery store here in Chicago, and it was like $2.49. So if you just want one beer, you don't want to buy a six-pack, it's the day before payday, you don't have that much cash, this might do the trick. But I have to be honest, this is not a 6-time medal winner at the Great American Beer Festival. This recipe here, it's just not. Oh, and I'm going back to the beginning now with a product of England. This is Samuel Smith's India Ale. This is brewed with well water. Now, according to the packaging, and this is misleading, it says that the original well, sunk in 1758, is still in use, but it doesn't say that the water for this beer came from that well. So I don't know, but this is brewed with well water. It's fermented in open stone squares and has an abundance of maltiness and fruity hop character. This is firmly hopped, elegantly balanced, authentic English India Pale Ale. So let's crack this one open and try it. Oh, I need to apologize for that weak-sounding sound effect, but the bottle caps on the Samuel Smith, they're covered in foil, so you really don't get the nice sound effect going with that. But no, this is excellent color. The color to this reminds me of like the Vienna lagers that I had last week. This one is a very dark amber color, beautiful color on this. I'm not getting much of anything with the aroma, to be honest with you. If anything, I get maybe just a little sweetness. I'm not getting any hops in the aroma here. Oh, that's a good taste in IPA. Wow. Big difference between the English IPAs, the traditional ones, and the American ones. This is very malt forward, where I'm getting all of the malt here, and it's very good. I'm not saying this in a negative way at all. Yeah, this is a really nice flavor here. I'm getting all of the malt. There's a sweetness that hits me up front. There's little bitterness in there, little bitterness at the end. But for me, the predominant taste that I'm getting out of this is malt. The website does not list the hops that they use, but looking at a homebrew recipe from BYO, it lists hops to make a clone of this, and naturally they're all English hops like Northdown, Kent Golding, Fuggle. So it's a very English hop. I'm letting this warm up a little bit, and I'm getting more of the hop flavor as the beer warms, so it's not right out of the refrigerator. So it's definitely more balanced as it warms up a bit. The homebrew recipe shows this at 50 IBUs, and it's also showed it as dry hopped. I don't know if that's really what Samuel Smith does with this, but no, this is a very good beer. If you have not had an English IPA in a while, definitely pick it up. This was actually hard to find. I was looking all over as I was preparing to do the show, and I wanted to have, I knew I was going to have the one from Societe. I wanted to do some local ones, and I wanted to have an English one, and I'm searching all over. I went to the website at the chain liquor store that's in Chicago called Binny's. The one closest to me did not have it. I looked at the website for Promiscuous, other places. They did not have any English IPAs listed. I went to another Binny's, and they had it. So I wish they were more readily available, because I would drink this. This is very good. Not that high in alcohol. It's about 5%. Very nice beer. Big difference between this, the American IPAs, especially the hazy IPAs. So if you're looking for a change of pace, I would definitely pick up the Samuel Smith's India Ale. All right, the beer in front of me this week is from Societe Brewing Company out in San Diego, California. This is called Wave of the Future. This is a West Coast IPA, and I want to thank from Beer Twitter, Mara, for sending this out. She sent over a care package to Chicago. So, Mara, I want to thank you for Wave of the Future for sending this over to Jeb. We divvied them up. This can is outstanding. I'm going to take a picture and post it on social. Beautiful artwork on here. It's got this really like retro font that's cool. It like reminds me of 60s science fiction with the clip art that they have on the back. Kind of like a Jetsons feel to this. Very, very cool. And I've never felt a can. It's like a textured label where it's almost like rubberized. It's a really cool label. You should definitely check them out. Society's been around since 2012. Great place. I was there, I think 5 years ago with my friends Ray and Ben. We did a San Diego trip. That was one spot that all of the locals said, that's a place you need to go to. So we went there, really enjoyed it. So I'm really looking forward to having Wave of the Future. Let's crack it open. Oh, this is very nice. Nice pale color to it. Very light golden color. The aroma is terrific. I get a lot of the fruit here from the hops. Really nice aroma. Yeah, that's really good. Wonderful taste here. Definitely a West Coast, but it's not super bitter like some. There's a little bitterness at the end, but yeah, this is well balanced. You get the taste right up front from all of the hops, then the bitterness at the end. This is excellent. Wave of the Future is a well-carbonated beer. Finish is nice. I like everything about this beer. On a 1 to 10 scale, I would give this a 9. Excellent all around. I liked everything about it. The artwork, the can was great. The color, aroma, the taste, everything about this was excellent. Societe Brewing in San Diego, if you're ever out there, please check them out. Great place, and thanks once again to Mara for shipping it here and Jeb for bringing it over. All right, here is your Jag-Off of the Week. I wasn't going to do this segment today. Wasn't going to do it. I had no one. It's going to be a nice, calm show. Haley over at Podcast 27, you should definitely check her out, tweets that she looks forward to Beer in Front and the Jag-Off of the Week. So now I would Jag-Off shame. She Jag-Off shamed me into this segment this week. But I have a good one because earlier today, I'm waiting in line to check out at CVS. I'm just minding my business, waiting in line to buy some melatonin so I could flip and sleep. There's a guy standing off to the side waiting for someone, and he pulls out nail clippers in public, in a CVS, a carpeted CVS, and he's clipping every nail. I literally almost threw up in my mouth. Guy at CVS and anyone that clips their nails in public, you are a fucking Jag-Off. Oh, you thought you were going to hear the music and that was going to be the end of the show, but I fooled you. All right, that's going to wrap things up for this week's episode of Beer in Front. There are ways of supporting the podcast if you wish. There's my Patreon page, patreon.com/beerinfront. I also have a new way of supporting the show, which is called Pod Inbox. You can go to podinbox.com/beerinfront, support the show there. There's ways you could record a message. If you want to have me call someone a Jag-Off, you could do it from podinbox.com. there's also plenty of other ways. If you don't want to monetarily, I get it. I really do. But if you could leave me a 5-star review on whatever platform you're listening, that really helps out a lot, and I do appreciate it. All right, everyone, thanks for listening, and I will see you next week.